up, guys? Today we're doing yet again another radiator install on the 240, but this time around it's going to be with a high quality KOYORAD. This is the original radiator that came on the S13, and this is a Duralast AutoZone cheap radiator that I bought to diagnose the overheating issue on this car. Turns out the radiator was the issue. Thankfully, that's all it was. But I'm not really happy with the quality or fitment of this radiator. So I just bit the bullet and got me a Koyo. KOYORAD is one of the most, if not the most, reputable radiator brands. So that's why I went with them. And since one of my goals with this car is to keep it as original or original looking as possible, one of my biggest wants in a new radiator was these holes right here. And that's exactly where the fan shroud bolts on. This right here is the fan shroud. And in the AutoZone radiator, it doesn't have that. It does fit okay. The radiator fan here, not this one, but there's another fan right here. That one just fit okay. But this KOYORAD, on the other hand, it has the holes that I'm looking for. Nice welds all around. It's a lot thicker than the original, which is a good thing, but also I'm scared about the fitment when it comes to its length or depth. And then lastly, these holes here are where that fan, radiator fan, will slot into and bolt on to right here, I believe. Those tabs on the AutoZone radiator are like plastic. Here, it's all aluminum. And back on the originality aspect of this all, a fan shroud is not necessary. Your car will run perfectly fine, probably stay adequately cool without one. However, it does improve cooling. I'm sure it helps. It has a purpose. On top of that though, an S13 fan shroud is where all of these hoses mount onto. So right now I just have them hidden under the intake and I'm using these zip ties, and I really do not like that look. I think this engine bay looks really good with the fan shroud, so I'm gonna try to make it work. So since I've done this install already, make sure to check out that video if you're here to learn how to install a radiator on a 240. There's also a bunch of other installation videos online. I just specifically wanted to showcase the KOYORAD because I didn't find that much information about it online during my own research. Also, Koyo had really good customer service. I reached out asking what is the most OEM replacement radiator that they make for my car. I gave them the year, make, model, and I made sure to ask them if it had these holes. And the customer service got back to me very quick with all the answers. So that's why I pulled the trigger on this. Here is the part number, HH020539. This is their radiator, direct OEM replacement KOYORAD for the S13, 89 through whatever the last year of the S13 is. Now I'm just gonna get started with removing everything and putting in the new one. And I'll keep you updated on any issues that arise because of course there's gonna be some, huh? Another thing that I forgot to mention is a brand new coolant overflow reservoir tank from GK Tech. It looks exactly the same. Looks a lot nicer. It's gonna stand out. Looks like an egg. All right, so I just got the AutoZone radiator out of my car. Here are all three. Let's compare and contrast. This is OEM. This is the Duralast AutoZone. Here's KOYORAD at the end, of course. So first off, this is the one that crapped out on me. As you can tell, these two look most alike. This one here, of course, has the Nissan logo on top. That's how you know it's original. And this is not a bad OEM replacement. If we're looking at it from the side, they have the same width. So this should be adequate. The only thing that I was not happy about with this one was the fitment for where the fan mounts to the radiator. So this fan right here, it has these tabs that it mounts to. This one here on the original, it's perfect fit, OEM. But on here, I had to drill out one of the holes. I think I actually had to drill out a little bit on both of them just to have more width on each hole so it will slot in. But even after doing that, the top mounts right here didn't line up with the holes that they're supposed to screw into. So I had to choose, did I want the top ones to screw into or the bottom ones? What I ended up doing was having the bottom sit flush, and then I just used zip ties to mount the top of the fan onto the rad. But that's actually not a good idea. My dad mentioned to me that that's only a temporary solution because of driving and bumps and stuff like that, you will actually end up messing up the radiator and it'll pull. I feel like that might be common sense, but honestly, I didn't know that. I'm also not too worried anyways, just because this is a temporary solution and it was more of a diagnosis thing for me, this radiator. Now I need to put this fan on here and make sure that that fits good and properly and flush. So we'll see. Some other differences are thickness. You could just tell that the thickness of this, it's almost double. I want to say it is double. Look at this. Look at that. This part, the radiator actually right there versus this. We're looking at this thickness versus this thickness. Pretty big difference. I'm hoping that doesn't cause fitment issues inside the engine bay. First up, let's go throw on the fan on the Koyo. After the fan, we'll throw on the shroud, see how everything fits. All right, so moment of truth. Here's the old radiator, the AutoZone Duralast one. Let's pull this fan out and see those two holes right there. 1, 2. Don't let me down, Koyo. Don't let me down. Come on. Ooh, perfect fitment on the bottom. Let's check the top. Boom. Both holes line up perfectly. That alone just made this so worth it. Like, I'd be happy running this KOYORAD without a fan shroud. I trust it that much. The quality, the fitment, it's perfect. I want to try getting the fan shroud on right now. If I can't get all of it on, I want to at least get the top on so those hoses in the engine bay have some place to live. And another thing you get when you buy quality with the KOYORAD, we got this really nice hardware that it came with for the top. And let's just appreciate this fitment. Look, slotted right in, no modifications necessary, flush, flat, and now these holes match up perfectly. That was not the case with the Duralast one. So regarding the fan shroud and fitting it onto the KOYORAD, what I am going to have to do is remove these side pieces. They're not really necessary. That's okay. And on top of that, before putting the entire thing in, this bottom flap will need to come off or else you will hit your clutch fan. While removing the fancy hardware, I noticed on the fan, Sonic, made in Japan. That's super cool. If you know, you know. I should be ready to put this in now. Okay, so I'm trying my best to fit the radiator accessorized with the fan and shroud and all into its position, but because it's so thick, the new KOYORAD, that it's proving to be very difficult to squeeze into this tight space. For that reason, I think I'm gonna remove the lower half of the shroud and get rid of the intake resonator thing. It's completely unnecessary. I think I mentioned this before, but as long as I get the top in place, the top shroud for these specifically, I really want these grooves, these fins to have a place for the hoses to live and mount cleanly, then I will be happy. So I'm gonna remove the lower half of all of this. So this is what I mean. This is the intake resonator. and the lower half of the fan shroud. I will not be running this because the KOYORAD is just simply too thick. I really just want to have the upper portion of the shroud. So I'm underneath the car and I got the KOYORAD right here, all nice and shiny in its position. There's these nubs that go in these holes. Yeah, one there, one right there, both sides. The fitment between both fans, both the clutch fan and the radiator fan, is very tight due to how thick the KOYORAD is. But I'm just glad that this mounted up in place without any drama, like the fitment of the bolts and everything. Same goes for the bottom mounts of the radiator where they slot into the car, and it looks like these holes line up perfectly as well. Now I have a place for these wires to sit. Intake's gonna go back on top. Gotta fill it with fluid, and I should be good. Yeah, I'm happy with how this is going so far. Sorry for being repetitive, but this is what's been eating me. Just my OCD's been killing me over the organization of these hoses. So now they are in place. See, there's little slots dedicated for each hose. I called it earlier. I knew something would go wrong because that's just how these things go. As I was putting on the radiator brackets, I was doing this guy right here, and boom, this breaks off. Now I got a bolt stuck in my core support, so I'm gonna try to drill it out. Let's hope this works. So I was trying to use this screw extractor, and it snapped inside the hole that I made for the screw extractor, so I'm gonna return this and get my money back. I tried drilling that out again, and now the bit broke. So yeah, what the heck, man? What am I gonna do? I kind of give up on trying to tap out that screw. You can kind of see it right there. Not ideal, but my temporary solution is just to leave it as is. I have this bracket on, and then also the top hose is kind of pushing it against the radiator core support. Other than that, I have all the hoses on. Got this one, top radiator hose, bottom one. There's also the fan plug in this area over here behind the battery. That's all good. So I just got to fill it up with coolant. Open up this bleeder screw. I'll do that right now. And yeah, let it run. That should be good. Car is running. We got the bleeder open, letting the air escape. Any bubbles in the system, just extracting that. Yeah, fan is not hitting the shroud. Looks pretty good. Sick. All right, so car is up and running. I'm gonna go take it for a test drive. And during that test drive, I'm gonna return this guy because this one right here, the tip snapped off, and it says right here, if any Duralast tool ever fails, return it and get it replaced free of charge. So that's gonna be it for this vid. KOYORAD. Oop. KOYORAD. Peace.